Chanena Characharam Tatpadam Narachitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Agyanati Mirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaram Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarvaram Jangamam Yatam Yat Kinchit Sarcharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhavaji Vyapya Sarva Trilokyam Sarcharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarvashruti Shiroratna Virajita Parambuja Vedantam Bhuja Suryoya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Shashvata Shanto Vyomatito Niranjana Vindunada Kalatika Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jnana Shakti Samaruta Tattvamala Vibhushita Bhuti Mukti Pradataja Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Anika Janma Samprata Karma Bandha Virahine Atmanyana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shoshanam Bhava Sindosha Jnapanam Sarasampada Guru Padodakam Samyak Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Na Guru Radhikam Tattvam Na Guru Radhikam Tapaha Atmanyana Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Manasa Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Rabhiranadesha Guru Paramadevata Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Vishwananda
Mahadeva Sri 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 Vishwananda
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Shri Gopeshwara Jai Jagadishwara Mata Pita Gurudeva Shri Gopeshwara Jai Jagadishwara Mata Pita Gurudeva Shri Gopeshwara Jai Jagadishwara Mata Pita Gurudeva
Shri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Jai Jagadishwara Mata Pita Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Mahadeva Sri Vishwananda
Mahadeva Sri Vishwananda
Mahadeva Sri Vishwananda
Mahadeva Sri Vishwananda
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Gurudeva Premavatara Namaha, Om Vishamaya Namaha, Om Devakari Samuyataya Namaha, Om Sukshmatanave Namaha, Om Chinmayaya Namaha, Om Gurumurtaye Namaha, Om Sundaraya Namaha, Om Sulochanaya Namaha, Om Sumukhaya Namaha, Om Charurasaya Namaha, Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Padmabhujaya Namaha, Om Managamanaya Namaha, Om Charubardharine Namaha, Om Ramaya Namaha, Om Mandirastapakaya Namaha, Om Shirdi-Babashakaya Namaha, Om Gayatri-Yajane Namaha, Om Arpanasvikarakaya Namaha, Om Vishnu-Pujakaya Namaha, Om Namo Narayana Iti Mantrapasakaya Namaha, Om Saramayaya Namaha, Om Madhurakantaya Namaha, Om Krishna Sankirtanarupaya Namaha, Om Sutrapriyaya Namaha, Om Itabhashine Namaha, Om Vagnine Namaha, Om Chitrakala Visharadaya Namaha, Om Vratadharaya Namaha, Om Sadave Namaha, Om Jagatpantaya Namaha, Om Sarvalokahitaya Namaha, Om Bhaktapriyaya Namaha, Om Sudaya Namaha, Om Anupuraya Namaha, Om Niyaya Namaha, Om Sudarshanaya Namaha, Om Bhaktavatsaraya Namaha, Om Premamurtaye Namaha, Om Shubhekshanaya Namaha, Om Pritivardhanaya Namaha, Om Svasidayakaya Namaha, Om Tarakaya Namaha, Om Anugrahaya Namaha, Om Vardhanaya Namaha, Om Ajitaya Namaha, Om Arthaya Namaha, Om Siddhipradaya Namaha, Om Janardhanaya Namaha, Om Manoharaya Namaha, Om Mahakshaya Namaha, Om Siddheshwaraya Namaha, Om Bhasmabhushitaya Namaha, Om Anmaligaya Namaha, Om Ligarchana Prasakaya Namaha, Om Siddhisadanaya Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, Om Omkarpasakaya Namaha, Om Sukshmaya Namaha, Om Vishokaya Namaha, Om Satvikaya Namaha, Om Samadashine Namaha, Om Dakshaya Namaha, Om Achintyaya Namaha, Om Nirakkaraya Namaha, Om Nirmohaya Namaha, Om Avyagraya Namaha, Om Chitakrodaya Namaha, Om Vinayashilaya Namaha, Om Savashaya Namaha, Om Kushalaya Namaha, Om Shamaya Namaha, Om Satyadharmaya Namaha, Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha, Om Viraktaya Namaha, Om Atindraya Namaha, Om Satyasandhaya Namaha, Om Pavitraya Namaha, Om Madhurasvabhavaya Namaha, Om Suravandaya Namaha, Om Nandanaya Namaha, Om Prasanatmane Namaha, Om Bhaktanidaye Namaha, Om Sakshaye Namaha, Om Samatmaye Namaha, Om Sadayogine Namaha, Om Haraye Namaha, Om Sutapaya Namaha, Om Somyaya Namaha, Om Guyaya Namaha, Om Vimuktatmaya Namaha, Om Gabiraya Namaha, Om Guptaya Namaha, Om Atmaramaya Namaha, Om Srinivasaya Namaha, Om Devaya Namaha, Om Jyutidharaya Namaha, Om Dhanyaya Namaha, Om Gurave Namaha, Om Guratikramaya Namaha, Om Gahanaya Namaha, Om Bhagavate Namaha, Om Harisharana Margadarshakaya Namaha, Om Kutasvajagartakaya Namaha, Om Abhiprayaya Namaha, Om Sarvamata Samatyaya Namaha, Om Chamaikata Bhavavarnakaya Namaha, Om Premavatar Sri Vishwananda Swami Namaha. Ato Deva Avantuno Yato Vishnu Vichakrame Deities Saptadhamabhi Edam Vishnu Vichakrame Tredani Dade Padam Samudamasya Pagum Sure Hrini Pada Vichakrame Vishnu Gopa Adavya Adho Dharmani Dharane Vishnu Karmani Pashyata Yato Vritani Vaspase Indrasya Yujasakaha Tad Vishnu Paramam Padagum Sada Pashyanti Suraya Divi Vachakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyago Jagurvagum Sasamindate Vishnuryat Paramam Padam. Premavataraaya Vidmaye सद्गुरुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विश्वानन्द प्रचोदयात्। हेमवतराय विद्महे सद्गुरुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विश्वानन्द प्रचोदयात्। हेमवतराय विद्महे सद्गुरुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विश्वानन्द प्रचोदयात्। महाकाया सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि यो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि यो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि यो यो न प्रचोदयात्। श्रीकृष्ण विष्णु मधुसूदन केतभारे नारायणाच्युत त्रिविक्रम चक्रपाणे दैत्याद्रिसार्जधर श्रीधर वासुदेव गोपाल कृष्ण हरये तव सुप्रभातम्। श्रीरुक्मिणीश भवनाश हरे मुरारे राधेश गोपेश स्वरूप ब्रह्मादिवन्द्य श्रीद्वारकस्य वैकुण्ठपते भुवनेकमूर्ते गोपालदेव हरये तव सुप्रभातम्। मीनाकृते कमतरूपवराहमूर्ते त्रिविक्रमाय गुहने गुरु राम राम श्रीराम कृष्ण यदुनन्दन कल्किरूप गोपाल कृष्ण हरये तव सुप्रभातम्। गोविन्द माधव मुकुन्द परात्परेश दामोदराक्षधर नन्दकधारिशोरि गो गोप गोपीजन संवृत दीनबन्धो गोपीजनप्रिय हरे तव सुप्रभातम्। क्षीराब्धिशाय भुजगाधिपतल्पशाय सर्वभक्तैर्सदनशाय रमाङ्गशाय श्रीगोपभाममृदुकल्पसुखादिशाय गो गोपवल्लभ हरे तव सुप्रभातम्। श्रीकाश्यपात्रिसुखनारद गौतमादि ब्रह्मर्षि सङ्गमनिसङ्गम भारतेषु तिष्ठन्ति देव तव दर्शन भाग्यहेतो गोपालशेखर हरे तव सुप्रभातम्। मन्दार जाति तुलसी दलमालिकार्यै माल्यानि अञ्जलिपुते समुदाहरन्ति तिष्ठन्ति त्वद्भवतधारतले मुनीन्द्रा राधा मनोहर हरे तव सुप्रभातम्। वेदात्रयं पतति गौतमकानगूय गायन्ति सद्गुणगणो वरदा सवर्गा संकीर्तयन्ति तव नाम कदा विशेष श्रीनारदादिऋषया तव सुप्रभातम्। गोवर्धनोद्धरन गोपकिशोर गोप गोपीजनामृत सुवेश भवाब्धिपोत त्रिलोक्यमोहन सुमङ्गल दिव्य देह श्रीरुक्मिणीश वरदा तव सुप्रभातम्। श्रीवत्सचीन शरणागत पारिजात भक्तार्थिभाञ्जन कृपाकर दीनबन्धो दीप्यन्त गायति जनाप्रिय दिव्यरूप श्रीनन्द गोपतनया तव सुप्रभातम्। Padmaksha Padmamukha Padmadhara Prameya Padmalaya Sraila Padmanivasa Shori Padmo Bhavati Surasevita Pada Padma Padmadinata Hare Tava Suprabhata Vrindatale Viharanaya Mahendra Vandya Kandarpadharpa Haratinya Sudesha Rupa Chandrananaya Siddha Chandana Nibna Deha Govinda Yadhavare Tava Suprabhata Shri Nanda Nandana Yashoda Kumara Dhira Mayanga Dhina Ravichona Supushpahara Nilambudha Sharira Rama Vihara Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhata Shri Vaishri Jambhavati Satya Suganti Bhadra Shri Mitra Vindra Divasa Prabhu Putrikadyahi Tishtanti Deva Bhavame Tava Sevanardham Gopi Manapriya Hare Tava Suprabhata Shri Krishna Achyuta Ananta Mukunda Shori Radha Manohara Janardana Chakrapane Namani Divya Munayurna Nishambadhanti Brahmi Muhurta Samaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Suprabhatam Ye Patanti Arnisham Bhuri Dhritan Mahapapa Shri Krishna Graha Hekuka Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Ananiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Chintamani Prakara Satma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabhirabhipalayanta Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamana Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Devum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Varavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakotika Maniya Vishesha Shobha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kala Satpanamalya Vamshi Ratnagadam Pranaya Keli Kala Vilasam Shamam Tribanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Anjaniyasya Sakalindriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjvala Vigrasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupa Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantasukoti Shatavasara Sambhagamyo Yayo Ratapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam Sopyasti Aprapada Simnya Vichitya Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sora Chayitum Jagadanda Koti Yat Shakti Rasti Jagadanda Chayaya Danta Andantarastha Paramanujayantarastam Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Yadbhava bhavitadiyo manujastateva Samprapya rupa mahimazanayana bhusha Sukteyameva nigama pratitestuvanti Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitabhis Tabirya eva nijarupataya kalabhi Goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena Santasadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti Yashama sundaramachintya gunasvarupa Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Ramadimurti shukalani amena tishta Tananataramakarodh bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramah pumanyo Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadandakoti Koti shashesha vasudadi vibhuti vinam Tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Maya iyasya jagadanda satani sute Degunyatad vishaya veda vitayamana Sattva valambi parasattva vishuddha sattva Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasatmataya manasu Ya praninam pratiphalam smaratam apetya Vilayitena bhuvanani jayatya tasram Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Golokanani nijadam nitale chatasya Devi mahesha haridama suteshu teshu Tete prabhava nichayavi tasyayena Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Shri Shri Siti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga Ichanurupamapi Yasya Chachistatesam Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Shri Ramyatadani Vikara Vishesha Yoga Sanjayatana Tata Pratigastiyeta Yasambudam api tata samupeti karya Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Dipalchireva idashantaramabhyapetya Dipayate vivritaetu samana dharma Yasarviheva vichavisudaya vipati Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Yakaranana vachale bhajati sma yoga Nidramananta jagadanda saroma kupa Adhara shakti ravalambya param svamurti Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami Yasekani shvasita kalamata valambya Jivanti loma जगदन्दनाथा विष्णुर्मांसयस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि अस्मं यतस्व सकलेषु निजेषु तेजा स्वीयं वियत् प्रकटयाद्यपि तद्वात्र ब्रह्माय एष जगदन्तविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि यत्पादपल्लवयुगं विनिधाय कुम्भा वन्दे प्रणामसमये सगणाधिराजा विघ्नं नियन्तु मलमस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि अग्निमयि गगनमम्बुमरुर्दिशस्य कालस्तत्त्वमनसीति जगत्त्रयाणि यस्मात् भवन्ति विभवन्ति विशन्ति यं च गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि चक्षुरेष सवितः सकलाग्रहाणां राजसमस्तसुरमूर्तिरशेष तेजः यस्यज्ञया भ्रमति संवृतकालचक्रो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि धर्मोत्तपापनिजयस्तुतयस्तपंसि ब्रह्मादिकीटपदगावलयस्य जीवः यत्तमत्र विभव प्रकटप्रभाव गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि यस्मिन्द्रगोपमतमेन्द्रमहोत्स्वकर्म वन्दानरूपफलभाजनमातनोति कर्माणि निर्दहति किन्तु च भक्तिभाजम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि यं क्रोधकामसहजप्रणयादिभीति वत्सल्यमोहगुरुगौरवसेव्यभावै सञ्चिन्त्य तस्य सदृशिन्तनुमापुरेते गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमां भजामि ईश्वर परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानन्द विग्रह अनादिरादिर्गोविन्द सर्वकरणकारणं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् हिरण्यवर्णं हरिणीं सुवर्णरजतस्रजं चन्द्रां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो महावहं तां महावह जातवेदो लक्ष्मीं मनपगामिनीः यस्यां हिरण्यं बिन्देयं गामश्वं पुरुषानहम् अश्वपूर्वां रतमद्यं हस्तिनादप्रबोधिनीं श्रियं देवीमुपपये श्रीमादेवीं दुष्टतं काञ्चोस्मितं हिरण्यप्राकारं भद्रं ज्वलन्तीं तृप्तां तर्पयन्तीं पद्मे स्थितां पद्मवर्णं तं योपवये श्रियम् चन्द्रां प्रभासं यस्य ज्वलन्तीं श्रियं लोके देवशुस्तं उदारं तां पद्मिनीं शरणमहं प्रपद्ये अलक्ष्मी मे नश्यतं त्वं ऋणे आदित्यवर्णे तपसोदिजातो वनस्पतिस्तव वृक्षोत्तविल्वः तस्य फलानि तपसा नुदन्तु मायन्तरायश्च वायम् अलक्ष्मीः उपैतु मां देवसखा कीर्तिश्च मणिना सह प्रदुर्भूतोऽस्मि रास्त्रेऽस्मिन् कीर्तिं हृदिं ददातु मे शुद्पिपासं मलां ये सम्मलक्ष्मीं नाशयाम्यहम् अभूतिम् अस्मृतिं च सर्वां निर्नुदमे गृहात् गन्धद्वारां दुरादर्शं नित्यपुष्टं करीषिणीः ईश्वरी गुं सर्वभूतानां तामियोपावये श्रियम् मनसा काममाकुतिं वाचः सत्यमश्रीमयि पशूनां रूपमन्नस्य महि श्रीश्रयतां यशः कर्दमेन प्रजाभूता मयि सम्भव कर्दमा श्रियम्बासय मे कुले मातरं पद्ममालिनी सृजन्तु स्निह्गन्धे चिक्ली तव समे गृहे निचा देवीं मातरं श्रियम्बासय मे कुले आर्द्रां पुष्करिणीं पुष्टिं सुवर्णां हेममालिनीं सूर्यां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो महावः आर्द्रां यज्ञरिणीं यस्तिं पिङ्गलां पद्ममालिनीं चन्द्रां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो महावः तामावह जातवेदो लक्ष्मीं मनपगामिनीः हिरण्यं प्रभूतं गावो दस्यो स्वाहां विन्देयं पुरुषानहम् यस्सुचि प्रयतो भूत्वा जुहुजादन्यमन्वहम् सुक्तं पञ्चदशर्चं च श्रीकाम सततं जपेत् पद्मा प्रिये पद्मिनि पद्महस्ते पद्मालये पद्मदलायताक्षी विश्वाप्रिये विष्णुमनोनुकूले त्वत्पादपद्मं मयि सन्निधस्व महादेवी च विद्महे विष्णुपत्नी च धीमहि तन्नो लक्ष्मी प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भूमिर्भुम्नाद्योर्वनिनन्तरिक्षं महित्वा उपस्थिते देव्यदिथेऽग्निमान्नादमाना यायाददे अय्यङ्गो कृष्णिरक्रमी दर्शनं मतरं पुनः च प्रयन्शुभः त्रिगुंसादामभिराजति वक्पतङ्गाय श्रीश्रये प्रत्यस्य वह द्युभिः अस्य प्राणादपानात्यन्तश्चरति रोचना व्यज्ञन्महिषशुभः यद्वाह क्रुधः परो वपमन्युना यदवर्त्या सुकल्पमग्ने तत्त्ववा पुनः स्वोदीपायमसि यत्ते मन्युपरोपप्स्य पृथिवीमनुदद्वसे आदित्य विश्वे तद्देवा वसवश्च समम्बरान् मनो ज्योतिर्जुषतं नद्यं विक्षिणं यज्ञगुं समिमं ददातु बृहस्पतिस्तनुतामिमं नो विश्वे देव इह मादयन्तम् मेदिनी देवी वसुन्धरा स्याद्वसुधा देवी वासविः ब्रह्मवर्चसा पितॄणागुं स्तोत्रं चक्षुर्मनः देवी हिरण्यगर्भिणी देवी प्रसूवरी सदने सत्यायने सीदा समुद्रवती सावित्री हानो देवी मायङ्गीः महोदरणी महोव्यतिष्ठा शृङ्गे शृङ्गे यज्ञे यज्ञे विभीषणीः इन्द्रपत्नी व्यापिनी सुरशरीरिहा वायुमती चलजयनी श्रियं दाराजा सत्यन्दो परिमेदिनी सोपरिदतं परिगाय विष्णुपत्नी महिं देवीं माधवीं माधवप्रियां लक्ष्मीं प्रियसखीं देवीं नमाम्यच्युतबालवाम् धनुर्धराय विद्महे सर्वसिद्धि च धीमहि तन्नो दरात् प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नीलां देवीगुं शरणमहं प्रपाद्ये गृह्णाहि घृतवती सवितराधिपत्ये पयस्वतीरन्तिरशनो अस्तु Dhruvadisham Vishnupanyagora Seshana Sahasuyam Manotaha Vrihaspatirmatarishvota Vayusanduvana Vata Avino Grunantu Vistambo Divo Daruna Prithivya Asyeshana Jagato Vishnupanni Mahadevi cha Vidmaye Vishnupanni cha Dhimai Tanno Nila Prajodayate Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Gurudev, good morning. So the story that I chose today is also from Canto 5. It is a story connected to Jadabharata. It's actually in the 10th chapter of Canto 5. And it's the story between Jadabharata and King Rahugana. So when we read the story of Jadabharata, or Bharata to begin with his first life, second life as a deer, and third life as Jadabharata, there's actually quite a few more stories that come after the main story. And so this is the first one of those few. And I'm sure many of you have heard it before, but I want to go through it first. So I'll actually read the verse that I chose at the end. I'll go through the story first with a few sample verses. I think there's a few nice verses to look at before. So the story of with King Rahugana, he was a king in the states known as Sindhu and Saubhari. So this king was traveling, and as it was used to be the tradition, the king was carried in a palanquin. So the palanquin has to be carried by 4 people, right? As we do the procession with Nishingadev or Mahishasura Mardini or whatever for Navratri, we usually need 4 people or a few people, because we are German and we plan very nicely, and we know that the deity is very heavy and the stones are very uncomfortable. We usually plan that there is at least one replacement for each carrier, right? And we usually plan it in the way that the people who carry are more or less the same height, so it, kind of level and, makes sense. I guess they were not in India, in King Rahugana's country. They were not so organized. So as they were carrying the king, for some reason, one person, I don't know, got sick or something. So they only had 3. And so they were in dilemma and they didn't know what to do. So they literally just looked around. And coincidentally, Jadabharata, who was very much unaware by choice, of his surrounding, was stumbling onto the scene. He was just walking through the forest, minding his own business. And so the 3 palanquin carriers are like, oh, let's take this guy. He's the first guy walking around, and he seems to have a somehow okay size, whatever. Doesn't look very fit, but whatever. We need somebody to do the job to carry the king, no? And so he was forced to carry the palanquin, and Jadabharata was like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. The problem was that Jadabharata, first of all, he was not very physically bothered about serving the king, to say the least. And secondly, as he was walking, he was always trying his best not to step on an ant or any insect or whatever to harm anybody. That was more his mindset or his issue or problem than the comfort of the king or even carrying the king, because he didn't care too much about the king. And so naturally, it was almost impossible for him to keep up with the other 3, no? And because he kept stopping and slowing down and going a little bit right, a little bit left. And so what naturally happens with the palanquin, that it's not carried very nicely, very stably, no, or steadily. And so it was just, shaking around. And of course the king didn't like that very much, I suppose. So the king obviously became a little bit upset, yeah. What happened was the king opens his curtain and he starts shouting at the palanquin carriers. So this is actually the first kind of scene that I wanted to look at, and then we go to the second one, which is connected, obviously. So as the king is shouting the carriers, the four carriers, because he doesn't know who is the idiot who carries in such a stupid way. I find this situation a very nice one, actually, because I've been in a similar situation with Guruji a few times, right? Because the thing is, when we do our seva and we serve, it's a teamwork. No? We have to work together. And what I've seen many times is that Guruji always shouts at the wrong person, right? He shouts at the one who is probably least to blame, no? But he does it anyway. And I can't say Guruji doesn't know. So there must be some other reason, right? And for me, I find these moments to be amazing. Not feeling-wise, feels terrible, right? But for observation and analysis, I find these moments amazing, actually. Because I cannot, first of all, it's my job to observe myself, right? Whichever situation it is, whether I am the one who is actually at fault or I'm just a kind of in the team bystander looking, different perspectives. But it's amazing to analyze. Because the first thing you have to see, what is for me to learn in it? First of all, is it actually practically, maybe I have actually done something wrong and I actually just need to change it. Secondly, what is the reaction that I have within myself? Because actually often I can see that if something is actually my fault, it's not a big deal. Like I just look at it and change it, no? Usually, if it is not my fault, the reaction is much bigger because you're being chastised for something that is not actually my fault. It's really like inside of you, there's this whole thing happening which is like, why is he blaming me? This is not my fault. Well, no, what? You're trying to justify yourself, no? And so I find it very amazing to observe, of course, firstly myself, what is happening, but also understanding what is happening within myself. You can see what is happening with others, in a sense, also. And I've seen very often this instant reaction that happens that we justify ourselves. Like Guruji says something and you repeat something, or you say something back of, I didn't do that, or what I see as even a worse, and I mean it's a personal thing, but for me, the worst answer somebody can give, it wasn't me, it was that person. I've seen that many times also. It's not nice, right? Just quality-wise, I think it's not a nice thing. And even if it's true, I personally prefer to just bite my lips, even if it's good, unless he really, 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 really pushes. Otherwise, I'd prefer to bite my lips. Just for the sake of Sangha, I prefer to take the hit on myself rather than pointing towards somebody else. Because the truth is, I've been in that situation more than once, and it's not a nice feeling to be stabbed in the back by somebody else, I suppose. And then one of the, for me at least, best teachings that Guruji gave me was, it was in the old puja kitchen, still on the other side. And he said to me, when I talk to you, I don't want you to talk back to me. You should never talk back to me. No? And I've always remembered that because I find it to be a very important teaching. That doesn't mean that sometimes you should speak back, but the way that you should speak back is not with protecting my ego out of self-defense. No? You can talk back sometimes, but it has to be with the right intention. That's the point, no? And so if the intention is blocking off, protecting myself, protecting my ego or my pride, and even worse, to throw it onto somebody else, is one of the worst things we can do for each other, no? Because the truth is, whether it's in whatever service that we do, I've also noticed or realized with my seva, like with serving him with the pujas and events or whatever, no matter how good you are, you cannot do it by yourself. You will fail if you're trying to do everything by yourself, 100%. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how good you chant the mantras. It doesn't matter how many years you have served him and you think you know exactly what he needs. You need at least 4 or 5 people. And it takes also at minimum 4 to 8 people to carry the palanquin nicely, right? So it's a teamwork, team effort. And I like this imagery of the palanquin carrying situation. Even if the king, of course, it would change the thought process a little bit, because of course the king is not the guru, right? But imagining Guruji being in the palanquin and us carrying the palanquin, it's a teamwork. And it doesn't matter if one person is out of step. It is the duty of each one of us to help each other to make it work. Because in the end of the day, the one that we are serving is Guruji. And if we are not working together, no matter who it is, the one that gets uncomfortable is Guruji. And the only reason we are here is to serve Guruji. No? And so I can do my job as good as possible. If somebody else is slacking and I'm not helping the one next to me or behind of me, my duty becomes useless. Because the outcome is the same, that Guruji is uncomfortable, right? And so I think this imagery of carrying the palanquin together is very important for us. And it brings me somewhat to the second point, which I find in this story, which is about position. Like we all have different roles, different positions, different duties, different sevas, different titles, right? Which we know are impermanent, and we can change, and they can change and move anytime. Doesn't matter whether one is head of this department or whether one is doing this or that or whatever. It changes so many times. At least, I'm sure if somebody's living here for more than 2 weeks, you might have noticed this before, that roles and duties, they change. No? Even if you're a Swami, that changes. Shouldn't technically, but anything changes in life. Latest when you die, you're not a Swami anymore, for example. No? Everything changes and is impermanent. And as the king opens his palanquin and starts complaining, and I'll take 3 examples. The first one is kind of finished, but I like the example. So, "Oh Lord," that's the answer of the palanquin carriers. "Oh Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. We have been faithfully carrying this palanquin according to your desire, but this man who has been recently engaged to work with us cannot walk very swiftly. Therefore, we are not able to carry the palanquin with him." No? That's the answer, which as I explained already, I don't think is a very nice one. No? So, which is kind of the topic of snitching, whatever. The second, thereafter, when the king saw this palanquin was still being shaken by the carriers, he became very angry and said, so he gave already a warning to Jadabharta. Jadabharta just kept quiet. King sits down, thinks that he understood his message, and Jadabharta still cares more about saving the ants when he's walking rather than the comfort of the king. And so this is the second time. In a way, it reminds me a little bit of Guruji sometimes. "You rascal, what are you doing? Are you dead despite the life within your body? Do you not know that I am your master? You are disregarding me and are not carrying out my order. For this disobedience I shall now punish you just as Yamraj, the superintendent of death, punishes sinful people. I shall give you proper treatment so that you will come to your senses and do the correct thing. Right? You rascal. That's why I thought of Guruji. I think Guruji likes to use the word rascal sometimes. You rascal, what are you doing? Right? And so out of this situation, so the first time Jadabharta didn't answer anything, it was like, okay, whatever. No. Second time, as he gets insulted and scolded, he answers. No? That's why I said sometimes answering, of course, here changes the situation, because of course the king is not the guru. So I take a different perspective from that imagery. Sometimes answering in general, but we have in general these situations very often, because we are, in nature, societies works in a hierarchical way. And so naturally, we always have somebody who we are working, quote unquote, or doing seva for. And at the same time, we have others that we are organizing the seva for, right? So we are naturally always in places and situations in which we are supposed to listen to instructions from others, and at the same time we are in positions in which we give instructions to others, no? Which is actually the perfect place for us to understand how we should behave on one side and the other, right? Because there's ways to do things and ways to say things, and there's not ways not to do it. And so the way that we always complain about how others order us around, but then often end up doing the same to others, right? So it's a perfect place to be in, because we understand the best and how we should treat others in the way that we would like to be treated. No? So the answer that Jadabharta, so out of this situation happens a bit of a, not discussion, but in a sense it is back and forth discussion. So Jadabharta answers, and of course it's a very nice answer. So actually what he does, because he's a very intelligent personality, he takes each argument that the king makes in insulting him, and he turns it around in a very beautiful philosophical understanding. And so by the end of his answer, the king is very humbled, which is a good way of reacting. Of course, you could still react in a very arrogant way and be like, I'm the king, shut up and carry your palanquin. He answers in a very humble way, actually, and he asks a few follow-up questions, actually, because he realized this is not a normal random person from the street. He actually knows what he's talking about. Yeah? So it's a very beautiful reaction that he has. So this is actually the verse that I chose is the answer, or one of the answers, there's a few more that he gives, of breaking down the allegations that the king makes against him. So this is from Canto 5, chapter 10, verse 11. Jivamritatvam niyamena rajan ajantava yat viktasya drishtam swaswamya bhavo dhruva idayatra darya uchyate so vidikritya yogaha. My dear king, you have unnecessarily accused me of being dead, although alive. In this regard, I can only say that this is the case everywhere, because everything material has its beginning and end. As far as you're thinking that you are the king and master and are thus trying to order me around, this is also incorrect, because these positions are temporary. Today you are a king and I am your servant, but tomorrow the position may be changed and you may be the servant and I may be your master. These are temporary circumstances created by providence. And I'll take the next verse also for more context. My dear king, if you still think that you are the king and that I am your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. I can then say that this differentiation is temporary and it expands only from usage or convention. I do not see any other cause. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the law of material nature. Therefore, no one is the master and no one is the servant. Nonetheless, if you still think that you are the master and that I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? I love this answer because he takes the accusations that the king makes and he breaks them down and tells the king what they actually mean. So the first thing that he says is he says you behave like a dead body. You walk around like a zombie, no? Which is true. Like Bhutabhrteshwarnath consciously chooses to act in a dumb and stupid way. Because he remembers his past two lives and he remembers what the result of becoming attached is. Right? And so he tries his very best in this life to not become attached to anything, to not create any bondage, any karma, anything. That is why he takes so much care not to harm anybody, to hurt any being, any animal, or whatever, no? And that's why he consciously acts in this way. And like he says, this body is temporary. And another thing that is temporary is this life and the situation of life that we find ourselves in. And so like he says, sometimes you may be a king, sometimes you may be a servant. So next life might be reversed. So what does it matter? This life I am a human, next life I'm a deer, from his own experience. So what's the point of becoming attached to these positions and this body in of itself? That's what his point is, no? And it's a great lesson of itself also, is that something is very easy to see quite often, is that when we get a certain position or when we get a certain seva, we think of it as a title and not a duty or a responsibility to make us learn and become more humble. No? And I get it's not a black and white, it's a experiential journey, right? But what he says here is very important to remember. To be humble is the underlying point that he makes. No matter what position we have, the most important is to be humble. To practice whatever it is that we may do is with humility. When Guruji triggers, like the example that I gave earlier, when Guruji triggers in situation, especially when we think of ourselves not to be at fault, what we have to do is not to answer in a protective, self-protective, whatever way, but to be humble and see, well, obviously Guruji knows, so why is he doing it? No? That's the humble way of approaching it. Because I've had this situation in seeing inside of myself often also, where I am insulted by Guruji or, whatever he says, and I go, it's not true. I didn't do this and that. But then I think, well, maybe there is a point. Maybe it's not that one. Usually the Guru or all the Acharyas, they often teach not so directly. They teach through experience. Because the only way through experience, the only way to change is through experience. Because to simply read the Gita is useless if you don't change. No? That's why Guruji always says you have to let the Gita go through you and not go through the Gita. No? Because if you just go through the book like it's a book, it will not do anything. But if you let it go through you and experience the change that Krishna is trying to give you, then it will have a huge effect. No? That's why Guruji always teaches through experience. I told this story many times, but it's something that I loved for my perspective, is the story that Guruji told more than once already in satsangs some years ago, is when a guru and a disciple walked through the forest, and the the Guru points to a deer. He says, look, there's a pink deer. And the disciple says, no, Guruji, it's not pink. It's brown. And they keep walking, and the Guru points to the tree, and look, the tree is yellow. And again, the disciple says, no, Guruji, the tree is green. It's not yellow. And so again, Guru just shrugs his shoulders and keep walking. And the third time, the Guru points to a bird and says, look, the bird is so blue. And the disciple says, no, Guruji, the bird is red. And to get from the story what Guruji said, look, what the Guru has to teach you is not material. It's not physical. What the Guru has to teach you is about the truth of life. And so, what you have to ask yourself is the Guru trying to tell you that the deer is pink and the bird is blue? Or is he trying to show you something else? Very often what the Guru is showing is not physical, and it's not the obvious. Because obviously the Guru is not stupid. He knows that the deer is not pink, most of them, I assume. But what he's looking for is the reaction that we have. And so most of the time, the Guru is trying to tickle what comes and to see what comes out of ourself, right? Sometimes he's physically tickling also. That can be a torture also, I know one person shall be left unnamed. I think one of the worst things you can do to him is to tickle him. He just goes nuts. And Guruji loves to tickle him. It's amazing to see. But it's a different story, no? The Guruji knows exactly the places. Everybody is ticklish in different places, no? Even some people who think that they're not ticklish anywhere, they find out that they are ticklish somewhere. And so Guruji knows exactly the places where to tickle. Even the ones that we don't know about, no? And he knows exactly which buttons to push in the right moment, in the right time, to make us react, no? And it is those moments which are most significant in which we can change, or we have the opportunity to change, or not. And so it is up to us to choose whether we choose to say, no, Guruji, the deer is not pink, or we just say, okay, Guru says deer is pink, so the deer is pink. Who cares, right? I've seen this so many times in so many instances, in the smallest to the biggest, and maybe many people spoke about it before in different satsangs about this. One situation, I think it was 2-3 years ago during Navaratri, right, where Guruji was literally walking around blaming everybody for a situation, no? It was, you could say it was my fault, no? Because I'm the one who was responsible. And so he was blaming, I was actually the last person he was blaming, right? He was literally just walking around blaming every Swami who was around. He was literally just blaming a random person on the side who had literally nothing to do. He just came in the door, right? He wasn't even in the tent. He just came in. It was like, where were you? It's your fault, whatever. And I was like, and I actually just went to Guruji and I said, if you want to blame anybody, please just blame me. It's literally is my fault. I'm the only person who's responsible here, right? What did Guruji do? He just went, turns around and he blames somebody else again, right? And I'm just there okay. Because I'm like, this is my fault, but I can literally see Guruji is just using the situation for something else, right? And it was amazing that, this mind-blowing, Guruji literally calls me the next day and he says, I'm sorry for shouting at you. I'm like, why are you sorry? You're the Guru, you can do whatever you want, no? But he said, you're the only one who didn't speak back to me, no? Who tried to defend himself. I was like, okay. There was an obvious one. Usually you don't get feedback for tests or something, no? So for me, this showed really how you react in those situations is the most important thing. And that is the only reason why he's doing it. Guruji, when he says something, And I think Swami Arati gave this example once, that whenever Guruji says something to you, about 5 to 10% is factual feedback, like what you actually have to change. And the rest, 95% is triggering, just to see how we react. And so there's always two things to learn. One is the practical thing that I need to change physically in the action. And the rest is what do I need to change inside of ourselves. And it's a very good ratio, because I think on a material level, we do very good seva. We do very good things. But what is inside of ourselves has to come out also. And that is actually the most important thing. What really matters to Guruji is our intention, our attitude, and how we serve. Not so much the physical serving that we do. They can be improved, they can be better, they can be worse some days, whatever, no? But what he is looking for is our transformation inside. And that's what is most important. Jai Gurudev.
Virabhadriyata Narahari Rupa Jayo Jagadish Hare Jayo Jagadish Hare Jayo Jagadish Hare Jaya Narasimha De Jaya Narasimha De Jaya Narasimha De Jaya Narasimha De Narasimha De Jaya Narasimha De Narasimha De Jaya Narasimha De Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Bhakta Svarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Svarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me Prapati Dharme Karataya Mangala Mangala Me Prapati Dharme Karataya Mangala Mangala Me Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Saligrama Pratistitaya Mangala Mangala Me Saligrama Pratistitaya Mangala Mangala Me Tridanda Dharine Godagrajaya Mangala Mangala Me Tridanda Dharine Godagrajaya Mangala Mangala Me Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Range Sakin Karirataya Mangala Mangala Me Range Sakin Karirataya Mangala Mangala Me Mananathaya Dharine Dharaya Mangala Mangala Me Mananathaya Dharine Dharaya Mangala Mangala Me Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Mangala Mangala Me Om Jaya Lakshmi Mata Jaya Jaya Lakshmi Mata Tumako Nishadina Sevata Tumako Nishadina Sevata Hara Vishnu Vidata Om Jaya Lakshmi Mata Tumara Ma Brahmani Tumai Jagamata Neya Tumai Jagamata Surya Chandra Madhyavata Surya Chandra Madhyavata Narada Rishigata Om Jaya Lakshmi Mata Durga Rupa Niranjani Sukha Sampati Data Meya Sukha Sampati Data जो कोई तुमको ध्यावत,
जो कोई तुमको ध्यावत,
रिद्धि सिद्धि धन पद।
ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। तुम पाताल निवासिनी,
तुम्हारी शुभदाता,
मैया तुम्हारी शुभदाता।
कर्म प्रभाव प्रकाशिनी,
कर्म प्रभाव प्रकाशिनी,
भवनिधि कृताता।
ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। जिस घर में तुम रहती सब सद्गुणाता, मैया सब सद्गुणाता।
सब संभव हो जाता,
सब संभव हो जाता,
मन नहीं घबराता।
ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता।
तुम बिना यज्ञ न होते, वस्त्र न कोई पाता,
नया वस्त्र न कोई पाता।
कन पान कवे बाबा,
कन पान कवे बाबा, सब तुमसे आता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। शुभ गुण मंदिर सुंदर, क्षीरो दधि जाता, मैया क्षीरो दधि जाता। चतुर्दश तुम बिना, राम चतुर्दश तुम बिना कोई नहीं पाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। महालक्ष्मी जी की आरती जो कोई जन गाता, मैया जो कोई जन गाता।
पूरानंद समाता,
पूरानंद समाता, पाप उतर जाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। मैया जय लक्ष्मी माता। तुमको निशादीन सेवक, तुमको निशादीन सेवक, हर विष्णु विधाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। मैया जय लक्ष्मी माता। तुमको निशादीन सेवक, तुमको निशादीन सेवक, हर विष्णु विधाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। मैया जय लक्ष्मी माता। तुमको निशादीन सेवक, तुमको निशादीन सेवक, हर विष्णु विधाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता।
त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुः सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। गोविन्द। आसतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय। ओम शांति शांति शांति। लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। बोलो श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की, श्री भूतभृतेश्वरनाथ सिंह भगवान की, श्री राधा कृष्ण कन्हैयालाल की, श्री माता क्रिया बाबा जी की, श्री रामानुजाचार्य की। प्रेम से बोलो सद्गुरुदेवा श्री स्वामी विश्वनाथ महाप्रभु की। कृष्णाय गोविंदाय गोपीजनवल्लभाय पराय परम पुरुषाय हर कर्म मंत्रय तंत्र उश्रासि शस्त्राणि समराय समराय मृत्योर्मोचाय मोचाय। ओम नमो भगवते मासुदर्शनाय विते ज्वलाप्रीताय सबदीक्षपरां भक्त परसिमये परब्रह्मणे परमज्योतिषे स्वाहा। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, Govinda, Gopika Jivana Smaranam Govinda, Bhakta Vatsala Govinda, Kundalika Varade, Ekanath Namadev, Bandrinath Maharaj ki, Vasta Bhakta Mandali ki, Alvar in Permana Kirvadi Kalai, Sarana.